Components of communication. Communication is the social exchange of information using symbols or signs to represent meaning. What does this mean? It means the way that we talk is the way that we are explaining things. If we're not talking, if we're nonverbal, like a severe and moderate severe student, then we have to use sign language or pictures to express what we're trying to say. The form of the way that we're communicating is the way that we are using it, like pictures or sign language. The function, are we trying to express our wants, our needs, or reject things, tell people we don't want something? The content, what are we trying to express? Or socially, we are social creatures. We like to express our wants, our feelings, our emotions with other people. So, this is the way we communicate. How do we assess communication? There are standardized communication instruments that help us express it, but the best way is the ecological assessment to provide information about students and their skills in their natural environment, in their routines, looking at how they communicate in the classroom, in the home, out in other environments like McDonald's, in restaurants. So we have to look and see what forms, what functions that they use in those natural environments. What things do they lack in their form of communication? We have to look and see about those things. Um, Interviewing parents and caregivers to see how are they able to communicate with their children. When do they communicate? Where do they communicate? How often? And what happens when they're frustrated? What's the final straw to cause them to have a breakdown when their child is trying to explain things to them and they reach that melting point? Strategies that improve their effectiveness in teaching is working in that natural environment. Enhancing communication is offering choices. Do you want vanilla or chocolate? Do you want to play with Legos or dolls? Creating that need to communicate. Not always just thinking about what, well, I know he likes to play with this, so I'm just going to go ahead and offer it to him. Provide that opportunity for them to tell you what they want or tell you what they need or indicate or provide the opportunity to reject something, not always thinking that you're just going to provide that for them. Give them the opportunity to indicate their choices or wait on them to ask you for something. You have to give them the chance to initiate the conversation. Provide responsive communication partners. Give them somebody to talk to where it's not just always you, the caregiver, or you, the parent. Give them people to talk to. Broaden reasons to communicate besides just basic needs of wanting to eat something, wanting to drink something, or needing to go to the restroom. And always make your instructions systematic. Always have a process. So be thinking about how you're going to provide your instruction to them. Systematic means you're prompting. And if you look on page, just a minute. The book has changed. Page 255 of the prompting, the most to least prompting of your prompting systems, how you're going to prompt them with this stimulus most to least, and then your least to most, with your graduated guidance and your backward chaining and your interrupted behavior chain. Your most to least, the teacher places the object in front. The teacher provides the full guidance. The teacher is in charge with the most to least prompting. The teacher is doing all of the guiding with, do you want this? And having the student respond to that with wanting. Is this what you want? Is this what you want? Is this what you want? And having the student respond. With the least to most, you're having the student actually give you more of indicating what the child wants with less information from the teacher. The student is guiding the teacher versus the teacher guiding the student. Looking for more cues from the student. And cues. There are cues that you would look for with students for either a physical cue or a nonverbal cue, looking at their eyes, facial expressions. So those are types of cues. Modeling. In teaching, you want to always model or demonstrate what you're looking for. Reinforcement methods, positive reinforcement methods, and then corrective feedback. One thing I like about corrective feedback is you always say, that's great, that's what, I like the way you did this, but let's look and see how this compares to what we're wanting. So give them positive feedback for the correct thing they did, but then always show them exactly what you're looking for and compare what they did to the expectation of what you're wanting. So always look at how your social and physical arrangement is set up of your environment, and plan your interactions for your children of how you want them to interact, and set up the stage for those positive interactions and set the stage for those communications. Don't always have all the materials laid out. Create reasons for students to have to request objects and create that communication in that language. Look at those physical positions of your materials so that they can see them, but they also need to request them. Think about your students who use the alternative and augmentative devices. Set up those pictures and those sayings for them to be able to use their devices to request materials. Make students' communication functional. Set them up so that they're asking for the correct materials that you're using in your lesson, and have their responses working to participate in your lesson. For those students who are using those augmentative and alternative devices, pre-program them so that they get a chance to participate in the lesson. Have them available to pre-program them and answer to the questions that you know you're going to ask for that lesson. Think about the function of what your lesson is and how they're going to be able to participate. How are they going to participate with other students? Make it relevant for them to be active and engaged in learning in the process. Choice making and independence. Don't always have all the materials ready. Think about what materials you need. In fact, the book even talks about, and I love this as the strategies available in the book. When I saw those, I was like, that is so interesting. On page 251, the strategies that they talk about. The time delay strategy. You wait silently, but you give them the look like you're waiting on them, and you are holding the object that you know they need, and you're like, okay, I'm waiting on you to ask me for this. And they, even if they don't ask you verbally, they need to point to it, nod at you, give you some sort of request in some manner that they know they need that object you're holding for you to acknowledge, aha, I know you need this, and you've just given me that look that you need this. But you're waiting for them to ask you in that manner. Sabotage it. This is really funny. The teacher withholds an essential tool, and it makes it impossible for them to finish that until they ask you for it. So even if it's a pencil or a marker, they're like, "Hey, wait, I can't do this. You didn't give me the marker. You didn't give me the pencil. So set it up that way. Make it out of reach. Place the object that they want just out of their reach until they go and reach for it. They've got to initiate the response with you so that they can get it. But that's their choice making. And inadequate portions. Don't give them enough. Tell them, oh, you know what? I need more. Make them show you the symbol for more. And choice materials. Choice making. Help them. Do you want the red one or the blue one? The yellow one or the green one? Do you want markers or crayons? And then assistance. Oh, I need help. Show me help. And then those strategies help them to initiate that conversation. Collaborating. I can't say enough about collaborating. You need to collaborate with everybody who's working with that student. So, in natural situations, with the enhanced MALU teaching, MILU, I can't say that word. Use it with every activity that you're teaching. That information is on page 256. The research behind that says that you use that with time delay, man model, and incidental. It was to promote communication and language development. What it does, it is effective in the instruction of sign language, one-word responses, multi-word phrases, and spontaneous speech. Picture exchange communication system. What I like about PECS is has been shown to be effective with students with autism. But you can use simple pictures or you can use graphics to help build the communication for students who are nonverbal. What it has done is help reinforce the verbal creativity in the communication for those students. People say that it prevents it, but the research has shown that it does actually build their verbal skills. But you can use that, and it does increase their verbal communication. But it is a low technology alternative of communication. It teaches them to initiate their communication. All they do is hand a picture, and then you just create further communication by using and building off of that communication. Here is a picture, a video that you can use for to look at a request made. I'm not going to go over it. The man modeling procedure, incidental training, and time delay. With time delay, we discussed it earlier. It's talking about waiting. You say, you model it, you tell them more, you teach them more, and then you establish that you want the student to learn more, and then once the student learns